Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the 3D Critic channel. Today I'm going to give you guys my performance review on the Antakai 2s, which is the successor to the Antakai 1s, which was one of the best shoes that I have played in last year. Traction was very good after you broke it in. Cushion was very comfortable and very springy at the same time, with really nice comfortable materials, with a very nice aesthetic appeal. So the lockdown was very good, as well as the support. So it was a very well-rounded shoe and a very nice introduction to Kyrie's line with Anta. So I was curious to see what changes they made to the Kai 2s because they look drastically different, which I will get to in a second. But what hasn't changed is the price. They are retailing right now for $125 right now, which is the same price as the Antakai ones. However, they are going on sale on Antakai.com. So if you guys are interested, I will leave a link in the description box below, as well as a pop-up link to the Antakai 1s review if you guys are interested to check that out for yourselves before you watch this review for yourselves. For the try-on experience, they are pretty tight at first, where you do have to open up the laces just to get your foot inside the shoe. But as you break in the materials, the more you play in it, it is very nice and forgiving, and it's basically really easy to get in and out of the shoe with the low top cut that you get from the shoe itself. So as you break it in, it's going to be a little more forgiving, and it's going to be pretty straightforward at the end of the day. For sizing, I went down half a size for me personally, and when I did that, the width of the shoe is really snug to the point where you will experience some cramping in the beginning. As you break it in, though, it will go away over time. Just be mindful that it will be very uncomfortable at the beginning because of the nice snug fit that you're going to fit. But as you break it in, it opens up quite a bit, and it has a very nice conformed fit at the end of the day. So be mindful of that. You will experience some cramping. As far as the length of the shoe, they run a little long, and you do get some dead space here in the toe box, which might be a mismatch for some people. If you are trying to stop on a dime, you will slide forward a little bit, as I will explain further in the video. So if you want like the best fit, I would probably go down half a size. For a more relaxed fit, I would probably go true to size. For narrow footage, you should be fine going down a half size, while for wide footage, you should be fine going up a half size. Just be mindful that the higher size you get, the longer the shoe will be, and you're going to have more room when it comes to the length of the shoe. So there's kind of a mismatch at the end of the day if you are a wide footer. So just be mindful of that. They do run a little extra long. Now for the traction setup itself, you're going to get this full-length anti-slip rubber outsole with this storytelling traction pattern that you get here in the forefoot and transitions to a more radial pattern here in the rear foot. And as far as how they grip on the court, they are very grippy at the end of the day, but it does need some time to break in. Initially, when it came to a dust pickup, at first it picks up dust to where it leaves like a layered coat on the traction setup itself, and you have to wipe it every now and then. That way you won't start sliding in them. But after breaking them in, it doesn't pick up that much dust to the point where you wipe them down like every once in a while. So as you break it in, it goes through a dusting phase to a point where you don't really have to wipe it off that much at the beginning, and it just gets better and better the more you play in it. So keep in mind of that. The more you break it in, the more grip you are going to get. And as a result, lateral movements, when it came to going side to side, they felt very quick and really shifty. So I really like that part of the traction setup. And the same goes for vertical movements. The hard stops felt really good, where you were able to stop on a dime very well, and you get quick push-offs as well, allowing you to get like a really quick first step. So as long as you break it in, it's probably one of the best traction setups that you're probably going to get this year. And on top of that, the durability is actually really good. You get very little wear in the high wear areas from what I've experienced, and probably a little bit here on the top of the toe box. But the grooves, as far as like the chunkiness of it, it is on the softer side. So I will be cautious to play in these outdoors, but they are chunky, so you're probably going to last like a decent bit if you want to play in these outdoors. But if you want to get the best out of them, I'll probably play in these indoors. And at the end of the day, it is basically a significant upgrade to the Kai 1s when it comes to a more consistent traction setup and a little bit more girth when it comes to the grooves itself. So a very grippy traction setup. Just be sure that you have to break them in to get the best out of them. For the cushioning setup, it essentially carries over from the Kai 1s, where you do get this full-length N2 foam, as well as a top-loaded carbon fiber shank plate here in the midfoot. And as far as how it feels exactly the same in my opinion. When it comes to the forefoot cushioning, it has a very responsive and very bouncy feel due to the shank plate that you get, basically giving you a very lively pogo stick-like feel. So you're basically feeling like you're jumping off a trampoline at that point when you were playing in these. So it was very nice and very lively on your foot, just like the Kai ones. Same goes with the heel. However, it does require some breaking time because of the shell that you get around the heel. Whereas in the Kai ones, you do get the exposed foam compared to this where it's like a shell. And after you break it in, it feels really soft and very forgiving, just like the Kai ones. Very nice compression in the heel, along with very good impact protection when it came to heel strikes as well. So, well, once you break it in, it essentially feels exactly the same as the Kai ones. And as you move into fluidity, it feels pretty much the same as well. Feels very fluid and really fast with the transitions going from heel to toe, being very smooth with a quick snappy feel coming from the shank plate and the midfoot, allowing you to reach your top speed in an instant. So a very fast shoe at the end of the day, very fluid, very responsive, and very comfortable, just like the Kai ones. So at the end of the day, it's essentially the same cushioning setup as the Kai ones, but with a little bit of breaking time required when it comes to the heel cushioning itself. Now, diving into the materials, you're going to get a really nicely knitted mesh upper throughout the shoe here in the forefoot, in the lateral, and medial side of the shoe. For the tongue itself, you do get some mesh padding with very minimal padding here on the top of the tongue. And as you move into the back, in the ankle area, you do get a little bit of sculpted padding here in the ankle area, as well as a little bit more padding here in the Achilles area. And as far as how they feel, they are very comfortable. It does take a little bit of time to break in those, so after you break it in, it will start to feel very comfortable and very form-fitting on your foot. Feels like you're wearing an extra sock at the end of the day. So it is really flexible here in the forefoot. Didn't experience any pinching. The padding on the tongue is minimal, like I said earlier, but I didn't experience any lace irritation throughout the shoe. And the laces are integrated with the TPU frame that you get here, so it is evenly dispersed. That way you won't experience any lace irritation. The padding is sculpted very nicely in the heel, giving you a nice cozy feel, but it isn't as padded compared to the Kai ones, where you got the Achilles pillows in the back and the ankle pillows as well, and you had a little bit extra padding on the tongue as well. So it is basically a slimmed down version of the Anti-Kai ones in my opinion, but they felt very comfortable and very hugging at the end of the day nonetheless. As far as aesthetics go, they are really artistic when it comes to the design of the shoe, specifically in this colorway, the Solar Return colorway. Starting off in the forefoot, you do get this weave covering the entire toe box, which is pretty cool and very aesthetically pleasing. And as you continue into the midfoot, you get a lot of stitched out stars on both sides of the shoe, as well as an integrated Anta logo, which was pretty nice. And you also get the TPU frame, like I mentioned earlier, has the Kyrie hieroglyphics embedded throughout the TPU frame itself, which is really cool. And you also get a really nice design of the Kyrie logo on the top of the tongue, which is pops out at you like a sour thumb. And you also get a nicely stitched on heel tab with an interesting design, along with a stitched on star and moon as you pull the heel tab back. And the list goes on and on when it comes to the storytelling features that you get throughout this shoe. So it is a very well thought out shoe when it comes to the design of the shoe, and it tells a story at the same time. Too much to cover in this video, so I just mentioned what I saw firsthand. But outside of that, the shoe is very comfortable when it comes to the materials, and as you break it in, it just feels more comfortable and has incredible storytelling details spread throughout the shoe, which was very nice and aesthetically pleasing, and it was very comfortable at the end of the day. For the lockdown, to me, I thought they were surprisingly good at the end of the day, especially in the forefoot. When it comes to the width, it is nice and snug, so there wasn't any sliding when it came down to lateral movements to speak of, but you do experience some sliding when it comes to hard stops due to the extra length that you get in the shoe. So for hard stops, you will start sliding a little bit, but for the most part, the forefoot containment is pretty good at the end of the day. As far as the midfoot is concerned, you do get this TPU frame integrated with the laces, creating an arrow-shaped panels throughout the midfoot, which does a really good job of keeping the midfoot basically strapped into place, and it feels like a wrap going on top of your foot. So it is very nice and containing in the midfoot. And as you continue into the heel, you do get some heel slippage at the beginning, but as you break it in, especially with the padding, it molds around your foot very nicely, as well as some nice sculpting in the heel, which basically keeps it in place. So it gets better the more you play in it. Is more simplified when it comes to the padding itself. It isn't as a hug-like feel when it came to the Kai ones, but in here it does its job well at the end of the day with very little that you get. It's very nice and sculpted, and you do get an abundant amount of padding. That way it molds to the back of your foot when it comes to heel slippage and at the end of the day. So In my opinion, it is surprisingly good for what you get and basically on par with the Kai ones, but the Kai ones to me felt like more of a bear hug when it comes to the lockdown itself. Lastly, the support to me is good for what you get, but I did ran into a couple of issues with them personally, especially with the shape of the shoe. For a lateral support, you do sit within the midsole, giving you really great stability inside the shoe. So you're basically going to sit in the midsole, in the forefoot, midfoot, as well as in the heel, and you also get this really stiff TPU heel counter in the back, so you're going to have really great stability going side to side. However, there isn't an outrigger along with the outsole being rounded out instead of being flared out, so it can lead to ankle rolls if you are not careful. The slightest angle can lead to an ankle roll, so I try to avoid cases where you might land on someone's foot, which is what I experienced firsthand, and it led to my ankle rolling completely. So as long as you avoid those kind of situations, you will be fine. And if you don't have great footwork, the rubber extends here in the midsole, especially here in the forefoot, and it can be grabby at times if you aren't careful. And if you have lazy footwork, it might catch on and you might roll your ankle that way. So as long as you have your footwork in check and you are spaced out on the court, you're going to be fine when it comes to lateral support. As far as torsional support, it is very good. When it comes to torsional rigidity, you do get this top-loaded shank, which keeps the shoe very rigid here in the midfoot, giving you a really good flexibility in the forefoot where you need it. So you get really nice balance inside the shoe. The base is on the narrow side due to the narrow nature of the shoe, but it feels wide enough, so I didn't have any issues when it comes to the balance of the shoe. And aside from the flatness of the base itself, you do get these rounded edges on both sides of the outsole. As long as you are not in a weird angled situation, this shoe has really good balance inside with good balance that gets you by on the outside of the shoe, as long as you aren't in a weird angled situation. If you are used to it, feel free to do so. It is nice and stable as long as you are nice and balanced in that position. So at the end of the day, the support is good, but it can lead to ankle rolls if you don't have your footwork in check, and if you are in high amounts of traffic when it comes to like getting rebounds and stuff like that. You might land on someone's foot and it can lead to an ankle roll that way. But aside from that, it is very good support at the end of the day. So to sum it up for you guys, this is essentially a low top version of the Kai 1s in my opinion. It offers the same amount of performance when it comes to the traction, but you do get a little more consistency in the Kai 2s. Cushioning feels exactly the same with a little bit of breaking time required. Materials feel very good and very locked in when it comes to support, where it gets the job done. But the only downside to me is just the support, where you get this rolled up feel when it comes to the rounded outsole that you get. So that was like the only issue that I had with these. It is basically on par with the Kai 1s, maybe even better when it comes to the traction. To me, I found it a little more consistent in the Kai 2s compared to the Kai 1s. But outside of that, it's basically exactly the same and a low cut version of the Kai 1s. It's just that the support is a little iffy at times when it comes to angled situations. If you are in that kind of situation, it will lead to your ankle rolling. So that was the only issue I had. But aside from that, if you want something that is more flexible and a low cut shoe with the same amount of performance in the Kai 1s, the Kai 2s, in my opinion, are a very good option. But if you want a little bit more support, I would go with the Kai 2s. And if you want to go on a budget, they are going on sale for around $90 on Anta's website. So if you want to be on a budget a little bit, I would go with the Kai 1s because you do get the same amount of performance. But at the end of the day, the Kai 2s are a very good shoe in my opinion. Traction is very good. Cushion is very good. Materials are very good. Lockdown is very good as well. Support is good as long as you are avoiding any areas when it comes to angled footwork. Thank you guys for watching this video. This has been my performance review on the Anta Kai 2s. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and comment down below on what you think of the Kai 2s. Are they better than the Kai 1s, or are the Kai 1s better than the Kai 2s? I would like to know your thoughts on that, as well as any other questions that you might have. If you'd like to stay up to date with future videos that I'll be posting, hit the subscribe button down below. It'll greatly support the channel as well. If you want to see the other variations of the Anta Kai 1, the Kai 1 Team, and the Kai 1 Speed, I will leave it on the corners of the screen right here. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, all of that information will be in the description box below. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I hope this was beneficial to you guys. And until next time, keep shooting.